Today's activity is called Meet My Mask, and it's an activity that answers two fundamental questions. The first is one that many of us struggle with, which is all about identity. The question, who are you? And a lot of times when we're looking at who we are, it's about what's on the surface. So the next question really becomes, who are you really? When you go beneath what you show and what you hide, who are you really? And so today's exercise will begin that dialogue. But let me go through a couple of things first. One is, have you ever thought about the way that children view the world? They have this sense of curiosity and wonder, and they are more truthful as they ask questions and figure things out. And yet later in life, we tend to have lost many of those things. Do you ever think about why we've lost it? I believe that it's because along the way, perhaps a child makes observations. Oh, mommy, why is that person that color? And what do we do as parents? Oftentimes we say, shh, don't say that. And in small and subtle ways, people learn that you don't always tell the truth. And maybe there's some things you don't even need to think or wonder about. And I think when we get older, the pain that we go through, perhaps the first betrayal by a loved one, um, has us make up in our mind that we'll never, be so vulnerable and truthful again. And before you know it, we are so jaded. Sometimes it's just to help people and not hurt their feelings. A spouse comes downstairs and says, "How do I look in these pants?" And maybe they're a little too tight, or they emphasize that the other partner has gained weight, and there's a decision to be made. Do I say this and affect her self-esteem or his view of himself? And so oftentimes we might say, you look good, honey, and we do it out of love, but that love is colored by us not really wanting to tell the truth. I believe these are rules and realities that come from society. That's what we have learned. Don't always say your truth if it's going to hurt somebody. Don't always say your truth is if it's going to result in you being hurt later. And so what happens is we wear these masks, and these masks protect us from the ways that people can hurt us, as well as sometimes the things that we hide protect other people from the ways that we can hurt them. The question is it appropriate to wear a mask? And is this something that is hindering us, or is it moving us forward? So today we're going to begin this activity by pulling out a sheet of regular paper. And with that regular paper, what I want you to do, 8.5 by 11, is to fold it in half so that it is 8.5 by 5.5. It'll look like a book, if you will. And once you fold that piece of paper in half, what I want you to do is on the outside cover, think of that as the front of your mask. And on the front of your mask, I want you to record those things that people can easily see and find out about you. If you look at me, you can tell that I'm a woman. You can tell that I am African American. It's easy to find out about me that I am a Christian. Just if you hear me talk for a while, you will learn that. So we want to put those things that both people see and pick up, and also those things that I'm intentional about projecting. When I talk about those things, I say those are your public persona, your Facebook self, if you will. I want to show you perhaps that I'm professional. I want to show you that I'm educated. I want to show you that I'm caring and loving. These are the things that I want to protect so that you know who I am. So on the front of that piece of paper, record those things that are on the front of your mask. I look at you and I see it. I listen to you and I hear it. I'm around you and I figure it out by what you project. So now I want you to open up that piece of paper, and on the inside, on the left side, this is going to be the back of your mask. And so as we consider the back of your mask, I want you to think about those things that people wouldn't know very easily about you. For me, I'm quiet and an introvert. People don't always know that because I'm always presenting in front of the public. Um, with this activity, what we hide and what we don't show and what people don't see, we have an opportunity as we jot down words and phrases to be a little bit vulnerable. So if I'm vulnerable, I would say that sometimes I struggle with self-esteem, that I have this, I believe, unnatural fear of death that sometimes hinders me in relationships. So I want you to put what you hide, and as you do, I want you to consider being a little vulnerable, writing some things down that are difficult for you to write. Now, keep in mind when you share this activity with other people, you don't have to share anything that you don't want to share. But there's power in writing something down because we put it out there for ourselves and we allow ourselves to understand that this is something that I need to address. So we want to think about who's the me that nobody sees. One, because they don't get a chance to know me, or two, because I make sure that you don't see that about me. As you record those words and phrases, what I'd also like you to consider is that when you take a risk, that there is power in a risk, but also that you have the opportunity to include something that might be a little funny or comical. Why do we do this? Because some things that we hide are just absolutely silly. No one knows about me that I cannot line dance. I think I have rhythm, but I just can't line dance. Um, and so to me, when I think about it, it really is funny. For years, it weighed me down, but there's no need for that. But that is something that I will put on the back of my mask. As you do that, and as you create the front and the back of your mask, I've given you some examples of what I might put. But know that when you create this activity, when you complete it, you're going to do it the way that's meaningful for you. So don't feel limited by the explanations that I give. Do whatever you want because this activity is not about me, but it is about you. We'll have a chance to share, and you can share what you want in the creative way that you would uh, like. So now you have an opportunity to meet in your small groups to share what's on your mask. You can go in any order, you can share it in any way that you feel is good for you. And again, don't forget that share only what you're comfortable in sharing. As you push yourself to do this activity, just know that the deeper you go, the deeper the experience will be for you. And that if you cannot share in a small group, after the exercise, you can always go one-on-one with somebody that you really trust, going a little bit deeper with the exercise. I hope that this activity has been insightful for you. And as we move forward and you go beyond today's exercise, there's a couple things that we want you to keep in mind. One is the exercise is not to teach you that you should not wear a mask. In fact, we believe that there are times when a mask is appropriate. What you have to do is use your intuition to decide when do you wear it and when do you not wear it? With whom do you share your real stuff? With whom do you pull that mask down? And with other people who don't need to know everything about you, how do you wear that mask in a way that is healthy and life affirming? As you go through the practice of beginning to take that mask and pull it down, it requires vulnerability. So continue to practice and move forward with showing yourself, but do it with trusted friends, family members, associates. Start with them, and then as you get experience, then expand it to other people. And then finally, tap into your own wisdom. That means go back to the activity, and when you pull that piece of paper out and make it flat, you'll have the opposite, the front of your mask and the back of your mask, a whole piece of paper, a whole side that hasn't been written on. Consider going to that side of the paper and writing your whys. Why do I show people this? Why do I hide this? And begin to understand yourself. And as you begin to understand yourself, you will understand when you should wear a mask. Have you been wearing a mask to your detriment? And when should you just throw that thing away and be confident and comfortable in who you are? Continue to process, grow, and develop through this activity. I've done it several times, and I can tell you that every time I do, it takes me to a place that is deeper than I went before. Thanks for completing the activity.